Adding images to a workbook. Now, some of you may wonder, why add images to a workbook anyway? It's a good question, and whether it's right for you really depends on your unique needs in putting together a workbook. Remember, too, that images can encompass many different things. A company logo, for example, could be added as a graphics file, which is the same thing as an image. Earlier, I gave you a few other examples of this in the form of a parts inventory, where tiny images of the actual parts are added as a reference tool to a worksheet, as well as a sales office that embeds images of its outside sales team into its sales report workbook so that they can keep a handle with a name. They can also be inserted as part of a sales pitch or here are the people behind the data type of presentation that may be made to a department or to a client. Also, since you can save worksheets as a web page, the ability to add images works well for a graphical medium such as the World Wide Web. However, before I show you how to insert images or artwork into your worksheets and workbooks, let me cover some overall recommendations for when and how to use images as you work. First, you're usually going to want to use small images when you work, because large images can make a workbook require far more disk space to save and take a lot longer time to send over the internet, for example. You probably don't want to have a huge image that kind of blocks or occludes the actual data behind the worksheet itself. Next, unless you're actually putting a picture with each item listed in something like a class roster or parts inventory or a sales sheet, you normally should avoid adding lots of artwork, because while you can add images to Excel, it's really not the ultimate presentation medium. If what you really need to do is create a Word document or a PowerPoint presentation, what you may want to do is have a worksheet that can produce a chart that can be linked or included in a document or slideshow presentation. Third, make your images highly effective to the purpose. If you can't figure out what purpose an image would serve you, then don't add one. With this said, let's go through an example of adding an image to a workbook. And for this purpose, I think we're going to move to a blank page, such as here. And we're going to click the Insert menu and select Picture. Now notice that you have several options here. From Clip Art, and we'll be discussing that. From File, which means a file already stored on one of the disks available to your computer. From a scanner or camera means that you can bring this in or acquire a photo or an image that you've either put through your scanner attached to your system or a digital camera attached to your system. We'll also be talking more about auto shapes, word art, and organizational charts later. For this particular purpose, we're going to choose File, because we already have a file we want to use. So once we choose from File, now it gives you the option to go look for the file you're looking for. This opens up a folder actually where my particular image is, but I could also go up here and start looking down through my different folders and drives to locate the folder I want to use. But here, as I say, we've already got it available. We're going to use this folder. Now I can either double click on this particular image and bring it up, or I can just click it once to select it and then press Insert. Now notice what happens. The image is now in place. In the next tutorial, I'm going to show you about modifying images. For example, if I thought that this was too large, I could adjust it downward so that it would better fit the page. Or, basically whatever else I wanted to do with it. To some degree, you can format pictures so that you can change some of the options with it. But this gives you an example of how you would indeed add an image to a worksheet.